The office market for 2012 has been remarkably resilient. We're sitting around 4.7% vacancy for central areas and probably closer to 8 or 9 for the suburban markets. Suburban markets are very dependent on world economic conditions because they're generally Canadian outsourced or Canadian offices of foreign nationals. Downtown tends to be more domestic demand driven by banks, financial services, and telecommunication. So we've done very, very well across the country. We have 8.8 million square feet of development as, I would say, the second half or maybe even the middle third of a development cycle. That is substantially leased, and I use substantially in a general term. There are some isolated pockets where there's little leasing, and there's some where there's quite strong. Prognosis for 2013, if the U.S. is indeed turning around and making the assumption they'll make the prudent call and solve their fiscal cliff issues, if consumer sentiment and business sentiment and spending turns up, see our suburbs should start to strengthen. We do need to see a little bit more capital commitment from corporations willing to occupy space to continue with the robust demand in the downtown markets. The Canadian retail market for 2012, I think it was safe to say, continues to grow. We've got new entrants coming in, both in terms of brands and outlet, and we outperform on a dollar per sales per square foot the U.S. by, I think we're at $580 a foot, and I think the U.S. is $440 or $460. So we're that much more productive. Now, of course, we're probably that much more expensive too, so there's a trade-off. But demand has been relatively solid. I think sales per square foot across the country are up. But the big red flag in that is the consumer debt. It currently sits at 163% of disposable income. That's a pretty substantial number, higher than it has been in a long time. So since consumers represent 2/3 of the GDP, if they were to stop tomorrow to deal with the debt issue, retail would suffer. But I think it'll be far more gradual, and Canada's not a place of peaks and valleys, so we adjust things over time.